tell you, the lawyers in the room, this subject is not something you easily come across the different literature, especially when it comes to policies and legal frameworks. Sexual violence, legal policy frameworks almost entirely keeps referring to women and girls and children. So I find a big gap in actually our policies, in our legal frameworks, not only at national level, but surprisingly even at international level. And when it comes to regional level, say in Africa, it even gets worse. I work with a regional intergovernmental body, Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, body which is constituted of 8 countries, including Uganda, South Sudan, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Djibouti, Somalia, and Kenya. I want to tell you that this is my 3rd year, but this is something I've not come across even in that in our discussions, maybe at the regional level. I want to commend Refugee Law Project to be really championing this in the Republic of Uganda. From the region where I work in the Horn of Africa, as most of you know, I think most of the member states in the Horn, East and Great Lakes region are undergoing serious conflicts. So sexual violence is one of the issues you tend to hear of, but more on women and girls. The boys and men, it keeps really silent. It's when your chance to join such avenues that you get to hear these rather very disturbing stories. And the legal frameworks across different jurisdictions identify different elements as constituting forms of sexual violence, especially like rape. In many cases, they don't fulfill the signal or the acceptable nature of rape or allow for proper accountability if or when it is perpetrated. So with the prevalence of rape in the African context, especially in conflict situation, I was able to find out in my reading that it is at around 33% and as high as 50% in the context of conflict, which I found quite really high. And as I've indicated, it's critical that the definitions in these various jurisdictions within Africa, both in the context of conflicts and even in peace, have to be clear. I think my colleague Gabriel has emphasized this, looking at the different countries, including Uganda, where the definitions are quite situated to one gender. So the clarity on this is very important. And of course, in other countries, I was looking around, maybe Ethiopia, Eritrea, Somalia, it's even completely silent. You'll not find such things like sexual violence against boys and men. And yet, when you really look closely or interact closely, you're conducting refugee status determination, sometimes you'll come across these cases. At the African level, we've had a number of protocols and conventions, like the protocol to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. But you find this is also strongly towards women and girls or children. The African Commission Human and People's Rights resolutions, you find it's also strongly promoting or pushing for rights to remedies and reparations for women and girls victims of sexual violence. So there's nothing you'll find about men and the boys, which I don't know is as a result of maybe ignorance of what is happening, or there is a deliberate foil to close an eye or an ear or ears to some of these real happening situations in our region and continent. So we need, or if we are to end this sexual violence and bring justice to all the survivors, I think we need to have better and more comprehensive laws which are well aligned and catering for all victims. But also, in addition to that, we must have effective implementations of these laws. And when we have these laws, I think we'll have to make sure that we ensure that they have very strong penalties when it comes to sexual offenses. And this should really be cutting across for all the victims. Of course, we have to make sure that we have these kinds of advocacy fora, both at national but also at regional levels and even international levels. The more we keep talking about this, the more we keep having survivors and victims testifying for this, the more I think we'll have the real actors responsible for these policy and legal frameworks, have this in their ears, and then we should be able to have improved policies and legal policies that provide for these issues.